Hello, welcome everybody. Welcome to this live interview. You are about to meet an amazing, fearless rock star, just totally eccentric and kind of crazy, but that's why we love her so much. Mom, eco-friendly mom, who has really, when I think of someone who has taken their passions and their interests and monetized them and built an online business, an online presence, a freedom machine from these passions. Lisa's definitely one person that comes to mind, and I'm really excited that you have the chance to meet her because she's one of our featured authors in our brand new book, from the Superwoman Connection, Power. So this book is a collection, a collaborative work from women around the world sharing their stories to their own power, their own self-power. So first of all, I want to bring out Lisa. Come on out here, Lisa, and just tell everybody a little bit about you and who you are.
Awesome. Hello, Vic. I'm so glad to be here, and I am so excited that I was part of the book, the ebook, because I've been with the Superwoman since the inception, since the birth of it, and it's just been such an evolution. I mean, there's been so much growth and so much change and so much good stuff that's come my way because of the Superwoman. I mean, I don't even think we have enough time to go into it, but what I do want to go into is how I was able to breathe life into a career that I didn't know I had. I didn't know how to find it. I knew I had skills. I have a degree. I have a master's in fine art. I have 20 years of teaching experience. So I have a lot of experience under my belt. But what I didn't have was business. What I didn't have was really like, how do I not have to be working for someone else? How do I not have to be a teacher in a school that's making me do all these things I don't really want to do? Because for me, it was all about inspiring the kids and working with materials and getting them excited and feeling their passion. But, I don't want to have to fill out, I actually had to do grades for one school I worked for art class. I was the art teacher and I had to grade every kid.
Yeah, this gets an 87%.
How do you not get an A in my class? Everybody loved me. I was Miss B, and actually that's how I became Lisa B, because everybody knew me as Miss B, and then I just became Lisa B. But what happened was, when I had my own kids, the split came between being the artist, being the mom, and it literally came at the exact same time. Because literally, when I was finishing my master's degree, I got pregnant with my first son, and I was blowing glass at 5 and 6 months pregnant, literally standing in a hot shop, like blowing glass. And then when I graduated, my son, was little, and we would take him into the hot shop, and, it was fine when he was like in the car seat. But when he started to be a toddler and run around, it was like there was nothing more dangerous than a toddler where there's hot metal and glass. And that's what shifted me to being a teacher, a real art teacher, because I wanted to incorporate my life, my children, into my career. I didn't want to go off and be an artist. I didn't want to go off and be a college professor. Well, I did, but then I got pregnant and everything shifted. So to all the ladies who, kind of, you think you have this all figured out, you've got this direction, you're totally focused, and then you have kids or you fall in love and you're torn because you want that life. But yet, you were somewhere else beforehand. And it changes you so much. But then you start to wonder, like, where is that person? Wait, I kind of miss that crazy artist. I kind of miss that girl who used to run around Providence, Rhode Island, like with all her friends and being a crazy artist. And I feel like that is still me, So there became this very, very low point when I was very much struggling with not having this creative expression going on and having to be the mom and then having another child and then really settling into the stay-at-home mom thing. And it really started this buildup of kind of almost this anger and resentment and animosity towards, well, I can't do the work I want to do. My husband can go off and do his job, and he's awesome at it. And I was jealous. I was like, I want to go out and be the worker. And he was like, well, I want to be the one to stay at home with the kids. Literally, we would sit there and say, I would rather be in your shoes. And it never worked out that way. You know, he was the one who ended up getting an amazing career and being a contractor for 12 years. And I couldn't. I was kind of unemployable, really, you know? So, and I say that in my chapter, I think, how, you know, being unemployable is something that you don't want to admit, but it's because it's defeated. It's kind of this defeat. Like, I can't get hired by a university because I don't have the graduate showing art experience. You know, there were all these things working against me. And I had such a wonderful teaching career time in teaching, but I couldn't do it anymore. So what was I to do? I was like in this quandary, and I was depressed. I was very angry, and I was kind of grumpy at the kids all the time. My husband was just like, what is going on? Like, you're not fulfilled. You're not happy. And the other thing about my husband is that he's a surfer. So he had this escape, this Zen place that he could always go. And my creativity and my art studio space was my Zen place. And I get choked up thinking about, you know, when I didn't have that, because that was really the hardest time in my life. When I didn't have that space to go to and be myself. You know, I was either the mom or the wife or the, you know, the teacher, but I couldn't come back to Lisa, that creative spirit. And that's why I get emotional, because it was such a hard, it was like the realization, you didn't really know what was wrong. You know, why was I grumpy? Why was I unhappy? I had this beautiful family. I had these beautiful kids. I didn't have a care in the world, but here I was, like, not happy. So, you know, I went online. I just decided one day that I had to figure something out. I had to make a change. And I went online, and I always have tissues by my desk, because Superwomen interviews are always about tears.
You never know. You never know.
But yeah, I mean, I really came to that realization. Well, you know, it's funny because I have been in therapy on and off throughout my life. And I always noticed that one of the things that got me emotional was talking about my art and talking about being an artist. And that when I was having a harder time, I would get so emotional about it. And she would be like, this is really this is your trigger. This is the thing that you're missing, that you're just getting emotional about because it's not there. And it's like, it's this empty place for you. So I had to get that back, and I had to figure it out. I had to get my mojo back, you know? And I went online and I looked for, I don't know, you know, I'm into eco, I'm into art. Like, I just kind of had these ideas, and I started to chip away at them. You know, I was like, how do I start a business? How do I start a website? How do I be online? How do I do this? How do I do that? And as a teacher, I know how to learn. Like, I understand the process, and I'm a very good learner. So I taught myself all these things. I taught myself how to be online, you know, and eventually I came across the Superwomen, and they taught me, oh, I mean, they took what I was learning, the nuts and the bolts, and they added the personality, and they added the heart, and they added sort of this connection, this like Superwoman connection to myself that I was missing. You know, I had all these blocks, or I had, you know, just things I wasn't even thinking about. And then Layla would tune me in, like tune me into meditation. And then all of a sudden, oh my God, like, I'm sleeping better, and I'm having ideas, you know, and things are blooming. And so every little part that we opened up, you know, attributed in different ways to my evolution. Now, of course, I went through many phases of trying to figure out a business and how technically it was going to work and stuff. And I looked into MLMs and online programs and all of this. But the bottom line was, what I figured out was that as an artist, I have to be my own brand, and that I have to be creative in everything I do, and that I already am creative in everything I do. I mean, it was just like, that's just how I am, you know, everything from decorating my kids' rooms and painting murals. I mean, everything I do. So, you know, to funnel that into an online business was perfect. because number one, I was looking for a challenge, okay? I was looking for stimulation. I was looking for creativity. I was looking for outlets. I was looking for other people, and I didn't even realize it. And once I started to tap in and see how the Superwomen and the groups and the accountability and the connections I was making were affecting my whole life, and that my family started to notice, and that my husband started to notice that I was happier and more fulfilled, they were like, keep on doing what you're doing, honey, because it's working. And whatever it was doing was working. And it's just plugging away and kept evolving until a brand emerged, the Green Seahorse and Green Art Network, connected yet different. And I started to realize that my experience as an artist and a teacher and a parent can be, and a woman, totally, and just a million other things, because we have so many hats that we wear, and like that I can funnel all this online, and how good I am at organizing, how great I am at bringing people together and doing projects online and just inspiring people. Like all that stuff has just come into the online sphere. And I think that with the way that things have opened up for me, like being on the Kathy Ireland show and just having these kind of wins, you know, are just so affirmative in that I'm going in the right direction. And it's never been monetary for me, because for me, it's never been like, well, if I can make $10,000 a month, then I'm successful. Never, ever have I been like that. I always felt like if I can inspire somebody, if I can teach somebody something, if they can see me for the creative artist that I am, then that's my goal. Then that's my win. And I feel like, you know, the balance is back to the balance between being a mom, being a creative person, being a businesswoman, and being able to be a whole person is also a big win. Because I think the struggle of, you know, being just a mom or just this or just that, it weighs on you a lot. And an artist is also, and I know Layla can totally relate to this, because musicians, I think, are very similar in their drive to create. It's like it's in you, right? And you can't suppress it. And if you try, then I think that's where the depression and the anger and the, you know, the sadness comes. And you might not even realize that that's it. But like when you just, it's such a big part of yourself. And it's not anything that you've gotten trained for or gone to school for, but it's just in you. And it's like, if you can't let it out, then you're not going to be a happy person. So I totally changed my life, became a happy person, and, you know, have hopefully inspired other people, and sharing my story with, you know, my fellow women and anybody that reads this chapter, to see that if you're not true to yourself, then there's just going to be this imbalance. And for me, it's all about balance, you know.
Yeah, I think that, you know, the women that are watching are probably involved in all sorts of different things. You know, there's so many different courses, there's so many different systems, there's so many different tools and programs and things that you can be doing to create this business online. But what comes down to it, what is the missing piece? And I think you really identified it with what you said there, and something that the Superwoman focuses on, and why it's so valuable, no matter if you're focused on green, eco-friendly products, or you are a chef, or you are a painter or a photographer, whatever it is, you have to learn how to not only inject yourself into your brand, but really be confident in that. Be confident in what you're presenting, be confident in who you are and your own value and power to offer the marketplace. And I think that that's why so many women from all different industries and all different sort of realms and walks of life find so much value in the Superwoman, is because it gives you that. It gives you that missing piece to whatever it is that you're figuring out on the back end. When you just infuse yourself into it, this powerful version of you, it just becomes, you know, this epic brand. So Lisa, share a little bit. We want to share a little bit to the people that are watching right now that haven't read the chapter. What is something that they can look forward to, or what will they learn from reading your specific chapter?
Well, I think what I hope that what people do come away with is the urgency to have balance in your life. I keep stressing that, and I'm going to be really transparent here and say something that probably Layla doesn't even know, that a long time ago when I was in college, I went through a kind of like a nervous breakdown kind of thing, manic episode, and ended up having to go on lithium for a year and was diagnosed as bipolar. And through the years, was able to come off the lithium, and I actually wasn't on it for very long, but was able to find a balance. And literally bipolarism, and I don't have a very severe, it's actually atypical 2, which is a very sort of mild case. But the point I'm trying to make is that it's about being imbalanced. That's what bipolarism is. It's a chemical imbalance. So when you're struggling with balance all your life, and you know what your triggers are, and you know what stresses you out or gives you that imbalanced feeling, then you have to work extra hard to keep yourself in check. So that is why meditation, that is why the Superwoman, and that is why my creativity is so important to me. And that's why I get emotional about it. Because when my life is out of balance, it's a bad thing. It's bad for me. Literally, physically, it's bad for me. And it's something that I don't struggle with, but I work with. And there's a difference between that, because I don't consider it a handicap. I just consider it a part of my personality, you know. And people might say, "Oh, you're so hyper all the time," and I say, "Yeah, but you know what? I also have a mellow side. I also have a hangback side. I have a lot of different levels to my personality, and I have to work on my balance." And I think that people should take away from my chapter that the happiness that you bring to your life is going to give you balance. And when you can even compartmentalize things, like, because I'm really organized and I like to compartmentalize, but it is all of you. It is all part of you. So you have to sort of not get overwhelmed with, oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. And just realize, where can those things and those pieces fit in a way that isn't going to drive you crazy? I'm a photographer. I'm this, I'm that. I can't do everything I want to do. I was trained as a glass artist. I don't have a hot shop in my backyard, people. Okay, I use my camera as I use other ways to be creative. You have to think outside the box in order to fulfill what you need. And sometimes it's not really that obvious. And it's like you said, like, you have to tune in order to really turn out that right person. And I think you and the Superwoman have given me a lot of that internal looking in and able to come back out again as a stronger Superwoman.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's all about the balance, right? You know, it's that awareness. Not only when you go through the courses and the trainings and the audios of the Superwoman, you get to that place where you can identify those things that set you off, your triggers. You can recognize them, you can control them, you can balance them, and you also get very in tune with what does fuel you. What does ignite you inside, so that you can have that balance, so that when you are in those moments of down and low, you can say, hey, wait a second, I can identify that and I can balance it with, you know, something that brings me joy and happiness, something that I'm grateful for. So yeah, really, really awesome stuff. And I can't wait for everyone to get their hands on this chapter and the entire book. We've been working on it for a long time, so we're ready to put it out there for all the women to get access to and share these stories, because, you know, this is just one of our authors, but the collection, I feel like the collection of stories is just from such a broad spectrum and from so many different women that have such, you know, incredible stories of victory and power that we can share, which is why we called it Power.
And so many people are going to be able, so many different, like you said, so many different people from all walks of life are going to be able to relate on different levels. You know, not just artists will be able to relate to me, but people just going through maybe a happiness issue or a balance issue, you know, and seeing the ways that we're coping. And also, I think another thing that should be said is the Superwoman connection. You know, we changed the name. We used to be the Superwoman, and we actually changed the name because the feeling that we all have together, this connection. You know, Layla's in Canada. I mean, I'm in San Francisco, Hawaii, I mean, Australia, but we're the sisterhood. And it's this incredible, incredible place where if you are not getting that connection, that could be what you're missing. Really could be.
It's true. You know, most of us as human beings, we have this desire, it's innate inside of us to form these connections. And with our fast-paced lifestyle, sometimes it's not easy. So when you can go to this kind of safe place, this environment of love and support, and you can go through these exercises and these lessons and hear these stories and plug in with these women, you know, it's just, it really is a game changer. You know, it changes your whole perspective on everything that's possible in your life. And I think that's why it's pretty epic. So,
it can be just as simple as not feeling like you're the only one out there feeling the same that way. You know, it's just that simple. And
well, it was crazy when we went through our recent workshop, our recent boot camp that we just finished, and we were talking about some of the common issues of self-confidence and looking back at through our childhood, and it was actually shocking to me. We were on a private mastermind. It was a private mastermind. There was only maybe about 15 women there, and I think there was 3 out of the 15 that had admitted, that actually spoke out, that they had gone through some sort of you know, physical abuse or sexual abuse in their past. And that was just the woman that spoke out. And to me, I was thinking, wow, you know, there are so many of us that have been through things in the past that we're holding on to, that we're covering up, that we're not talking about. And really the person that's right there across from you, you know, the chances are very high that they've been through something similar. And I think that when we go through the connection, the Superwoman connection, we start to feel that, and it's like, it's just grounding, you know.
Very intense.
Yeah, it's amazing. All right, Lisa, well, we're going to wrap it up. We've got more interviews coming, so make sure that you plug into all of these interviews, meet all of the women that are contributing to this book. And if it's something that you want to do, if you want to be on our next series, if you want to be a writer, if you want to share your story, if you want to find your power, then you need to plug in with the Superwoman Connection. Get plugged in. It's a free community, and you can have the chance to really share your story and make a difference. And I think that's one of the biggest things that happens in the Superwoman Connection, is that women like Lisa, they, on their own, throughout their own journey, they're sharing and expressing their breakthroughs and their growth, and they're seeing that it's having an impact on others. And it's that feeling of inspiring someone else. You know, it's really hard to compare with that. So this is an opportunity for you to take your story, your journey, and have it impact other people, because that's pretty much what we do. So yeah, Superwoman Connection rocks. You're awesome. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you, Layla.
Get the book.
Yeah.